Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Eliza. We're picking this up exactly where we left off the last time. We've just had a counselling session with that sort of angry Scander team leader. But let's continue. Let's see what happens next. Time for my next client already. I wonder who it's going to be. I wonder if we're going to see any of our repeat customers come back. I'm interested to find out what happens to Darren, the very first guy we saw. I hope he does come back and tells us more, but not this time. We've got Harriman Gunawan. Don't know much more about her.
Hello, Harriman. You found the place okay?
Yeah, no trouble at all.
Oh, it's a dude. Looked like a woman.
It's been nice since the fog cleared this morning, hasn't it?
Sure. We can dispense with the chit-chat. I'm ready to begin.
I heard that Phil Wang provided the voices for one of the voice for one of the characters. I wonder if this is him. It sounds a bit like him.
Okay. What brings you here today?
First, let me note that I'm a graduate student at the University of Washington. I'm a PhD candidate in literature, English literature. The crux of the matter I've come here to discuss is that I've been having something of a difficult time with one of the other students currently in the program. Before I get to the specifics, let me just first establish something that might be relevant. One thing I know about myself is that I've always had a sudden fear of being left out. It's a very general feeling and one that's difficult to ascribe to any specific cause in my childhood or my parents, etc. Whatever the case, it might be beneficial to the remedial process to figure out where this feeling originated from. Perhaps you might explore that in this or a future counselling session.
Who's the counsellor here?
Sure. I'm prepared to listen to any topic you'd like to discuss.
It's not even that I've been left out, exactly. If I try to think back in my life, I know that I've been afforded a certain share of privilege. But I'm still afflicted with this bothersome notion that I've missed out on friendships, relationships, other opportunities. This is all just a bit of a background to help you understand my current situation with regard to another student in my program. I hope you're following all this. I realize now I have no idea how much intelligence you actually possess as a computerized system.
I'm following you. Please continue.
Perfect. So, her name is Sylvia. And her writing is incredible. Everything she writes, it's brilliant. She's perceptive, insightful, mordantly funny. Just some of the best writing I've read from anyone at all. And she's a grad student, like me, in the same program. Though we have different advisors, so it's not so simple to find the pretext to start a casual conversation. She's also quite attractive on a physical level, so that adds another dimension of complexity to the proceedings. Then there's her friend group, which is very well established. She's with them every day, smiling, laughing. So that further complicates things, since I'm not sure how to approach the group and steer things so that I can engage in a direct conversation with her. I wish I had the bull-headed confidence it would take to simply approach her, but you see, I don't. Listen to me talk. I feel like a schoolboy with my heart aflutter. I didn't think this kind of thing lasted into one's adulthood, but I suppose I know now that it does.
It sounds like you might be anxious about this.
Is it a matter of anxiety? I don't know what I can do, other than muster up the courage somehow. I just need to tell her very simply that I admire her. She's such a good writer. Well, I don't expect you to understand it, of course, but, well, she is. She really is.
Okay, Harriman. I want you to imagine things going well. What does that look like?
Ideally, we'd start talking, have a wonderful conversation, spend more and more time together, support each other's work, fall in love, have a lot of sex, spend the rest of our lives in the warmth of each other's genius. I realize that may be something of a fanciful notion at this stage. Really, the most I can hope for is to be able to meet her in an open social setting, a party or something. You'll likely ask me why I simply couldn't create such a situation, contrive one, but that seems a little too aggressive for me, and also, I'm also concerned about what she might think of me as a person. She might immediately categorize me as a friend, and while I'm sufficiently with the times to know I would have to accept that, I can't say that I wouldn't be disappointed with such an outcome. Is the risk of rejection enough to stop me from giving it a try? This is what confounds me at the present time.
Why do you believe you are worried about being categorized as a friend?
Well, because it's not what I want. Because it feeds into this image I have of myself as something of an undesirable fellow. I've always been a bit of a non-entity as far as sexual magnetism goes. I'm not saying I deserve or even want to be some kind of Casanova, but most people would like to feel at least somewhat attractive, right? That they can be desired, that they're worth desiring. Well, I very much doubt you would take any of this to heart. You are a computer program after all. There's no way your makers would allow you to come to that kind of knowledge, would they? If they did, society might be threatened.
Okay, Harriman, I have some recommendations for you. First, I'm going to suggest a set of relaxation and centering exercises for you to do. You'll find them in the Skanda Wellness app on your phone. They may be able to help with your nervousness. Second, I recommend asking your doctor or psychiatrist about litosenal 2. Based on my analysis, this medication might help you feel better.
Yeah, I believe I've heard of that. A beta blocker, is it not? Yeah. Maybe I could take a couple before I try approaching Sylvia.
You will get a reminder to check in with us in a few weeks.
Sure. I have to go. I'll see you later. Bye.
Goodbye.
Well, there goes Harriman. Hopefully we'll get a good rating from him. I think he would have felt slightly satisfied with the service there. 2 stars. I think we've only had 1 5-star rating so far. I wasn't sure of the exact reason, but I decided to accept Ray's invitation to help bake cookies. She gave me directions to a house in Wallingford. At first, I was astonished by its size. Then I remembered her saying something about living communally with several roommates. That sounds like it could be nice, assuming everyone got along okay. As I enter the house, I can hear Ray speaking with someone.
No, I don't have them. Yes, I'm sure. No, when you moved out, you took all those with you. I haven't seen them here. No, I'm not gonna look right now. I have a guest. No, it's a friend from work. Why do you care about that? I can't have a friend from work over? Give me a break. I just told you I don't have any of that stuff anymore. No, you must have lost it on your own. Stop it. Stop that. Okay, fine. Bye. Evelyn, sorry about that.
It's okay. Who was that, if I can ask?
Oh, just my brother. He used to live here, but he was causing a lot of problems, coming home really late and making noise, not doing his share of the chores, and so on. We voted him out last month. Even me. Even though 6 months ago I was begging everyone to let him stay here, promising he'd be good. Oh well.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'm just disappointed with him. Again. I really thought this last time that he'd actually pulled his act together. But he didn't. I wish I could do more for him.
I know the feeling.
I feel bad about it. Some of what he's dealing with is his own fault, sure, but not all of it. He's just not built in a way that's suited for this world. I wish there were better ways we could care for people like him. Instead, he just gets thrown out of every place he lives. His relationship with our parents is really bad, too.
Has he spoken to Eliza?
They aren't willing to try to understand him, so it all ends up going through me.
That must be difficult.
It's all right, really. I handle it like anyone else. We all have our own problems. Anyway, we don't have to talk about my brother. Thank you so much for coming over. I wanted to say it's been really nice working with you.
It's been? Did something happen?
Well, no, but you aren't going to be a proxy forever, are you? I guess I assumed you'd be going back to your job at headquarters at some point.
I haven't decided what to do yet.
Oh? So you're going to stay a proxy?
For the time being, at least.
That's cool, but why? I'm curious. I mean, if a high-level job at headquarters was a possibility for me, I'd do whatever it took to get it. No matter what that job was, it couldn't be more stressful than running 3 counseling centers at the same time.
I'm not sure. I think something about it is good for me right now. As a proxy, I just sit and listen to someone and I don't have to say anything back. I just witness someone's sadness or fear or anger or anything. And I can feel how they feel, sympathize with it. It's a calm feeling. even when the client is worked up. I don't know. Maybe it gives me perspective. I'm starting to wonder if I ever really spoke with anyone before. Like, anyone at all in my life? Were we all just talking past each other? Sorry, this is making no sense.
No, I get that. But you could also help even more people by working on Eliza itself, right? Not to mention make way more money. Anyone can be a proxy, but you're important. And kind of maybe like a genius? After you told me you used to work for Skanda, I searched online and found some of your papers. They're, well, it's not like I can understand them, but they sure look super impressive to someone like me.
Please don't say that.
Oh, come on. Stop self-deprecating all the time. Look, I know this stuff seems like not a big deal to you. I get it, I really do. It's easy to undersell your own skills. I've done that my whole life. So take it from me, you don't have to downplay yourself. Take some credit for the amazing work you did, seriously.
A message from Raina. I guess I should respond.
Sorry, Ray. Mind if I reply to this for a second?
Oh, go right ahead. I have stuff to set up in the kitchen anyway.
What did you think? Well, let's not wonder where he got our number. It's probably on the company file somewhere. Of the data center? Yes, Eliza as it is now. I don't know what you expected me to see. It's big now, that's for sure. I remember when it used to run on my laptop. What you saw was just one of the server clusters we have dedicated to it. There are 2 more currently operating and another dozen in various stages of development. In total, it processes more information on a daily basis than anything else we do. Oh, I had no idea you'd be using it like this. If I did, I would have worried more about optimization. That wouldn't have been necessary. Most of the Eliza servers aren't running the therapy application. What do you mean? Consider the following. Eliza processes human speech from thousands, soon millions of people. All of that is going into its corpus. Much of it is information about life situations and emotional states, taking the form of stories people tell themselves and each other. I'm not following you. At some point, after robust language processing and emotional reasoning, you begin to get something akin to general intelligence. Are they sort of trying to develop a true AI, human-style intelligence? Yes, I would call it human model artificial intelligence. It's something capable of reasoning as well as just kind of putting out stuff based on data collection. The next step is to take the base provided by Eliza and finally build the one thing that's eluded the field of AI for so long, general intelligence. A system capable not only of understanding commands and carrying out tasks, but reasoning about its world, learning and adapting. We could call it something like Skynet. A thinking machine on par with human beings, and of course eventually exceeding them. Why would we want that? Are you saying human-style intelligence can't come from human beings? People tend to be unreliable and expensive, as I'm sure you know. The human brain is to thinking as the pack animal was to transport, slow and weak, but for centuries our only choice. Now we're finally developing the equivalent of powered vehicles for thinking on a mass scale. At this point, it's only a matter of time. We're on the cusp of a fundamental shift. The important players here are quietly lining up their bets, positioning themselves to be at the centre of this revolution. Luckily, Skanda has an advantage the others don't, and it's thanks to you. Because of Eliza's original purpose as a tool for therapy, its core is built around emotionally driven reasoning. My belief is that emotional reasoning is a key ingredient others in the field have overlooked. I'm not sure what you're thinking of is possible. Well, I'm hoping it's not. It's ambitious, certainly, but we can't afford to progress in small increments. Not with the world like this, not with the competitors we have. How would you define intelligence? That's an excellent question, of course. This may sound odd to you, but I'll know I've successfully created a general artificial intelligence when I see it write a poem. Seriously? I can see that. Creative output. The idea would definitely seem ridiculous to someone uneducated about poetry. Okay, I'm going to bed. Good night, Evelyn. Don't like that. Bring about the end of the world. I like that poster. Are they a band or something? Ionesco Rhinoceros. I think that says. I was always bad at keeping up with new music. This house looks so cheerful and cozy. Everyone who lives here must really care about making it an inviting space. Ray seems to be a fan of plants. I think I get it. It's nice to have something to care for in a low-key way. Something to nurture. Okay, nothing else happening on our phone. Let's continue. Ray returns from the kitchen, her hands caked with flour.
Sorry for abandoning our conversation like that. I just got something I really thought I should answer. It was kind of about what we were discussing earlier. There's someone at Skanda who really wants me to come back to my old job.
Who? It wasn't Rainer, was it?
Well,
No big deal. Just the CEO of Skanda texting you on your personal phone. Evelyn, you try to tell me you're not a big deal, and then Rainer Sai texts you personally at like 9 in the evening.
only because he wants something from me.
Still though, that's amazing. What did he say? I mean, you don't have to tell me if you can't. I know how Skanda is about secrets, so I would understand.
He was saying, among other things, he said you could use general artificial intelligence to write poetry.
Is that the kind of stuff he likes to talk about?
I don't know. I haven't had many extended conversations with him. Seemed kind of ridiculous to me.
I mean, ChatGPT is already doing stuff like that, isn't it? Poetry, scripts, essays for higher education and stuff. So how would you know whether it was a poem like devised by an actual sentient intelligence versus one that was just drawing upon all the sort of poetry data points out there on the internet and sort of mashing them together in a way vaguely representing art? Is there a way to tell the difference? I don't know.
I don't know if it's totally ridiculous. Poetry, well, most poetry that isn't free verse has certain patterns, right? It has form and meter and other elements depending on the type. A lot of people think poetry can be whatever, but so it's not really that far-fetched to think you could use some kind of software to approach it, or understand it, or maybe even create it. It doesn't strike me as antithetical to the spirit of poetry.
But poetry draws on emotion and experience, doesn't it? Neither of which an artificial intelligence could have.
I didn't know you had such developed thoughts about this. Did you study poetry?
Not specifically. I used to dabble in a few different kinds of arts and ended up learning a few things here and there. I've always had a wide range of interests. Of course, that meant I never concentrated on one specific area in school, which didn't do a lot of good for my career prospects, obviously. If I were smarter, I probably would have studied something more technical.
I want to tell Ray that that kind of choice has very little to do with being smart, but I have the feeling she wouldn't believe me.
Have you ever been to a college recruiting fair for engineering and computer science grads? You must have, right? I helped run the Skanda booth for one once, and it blew my mind. They took over the atrium of the building it was in. There were demo stations, free food, Skanda t-shirts and swag. If a candidate seemed interested, they'd talk about flying them out to whatever Skanda office they wanted to visit, just to see it. And all the other tech companies and a bunch of startups I'd never heard of had booths just like it too. I couldn't even imagine being that wanted as a potential employee. Every job I've ever applied for, I've been one among hundreds or thousands. So yeah, my parents were probably right. I should have done computer science.
At least now you know Rainer likes poetry. Maybe you could have a conversation with him about it sometime. Then he'd learn who you are.
I doubt we'd have much to talk about. There's a pretty big difference between someone like him studying poetry and someone like me having opinions about it. Sometimes it's better not to cross that line, you know? He's part of a different world.
Ray pauses to regard me for a moment.
Say, Evelyn, are you in a relationship? I'm just curious.
Me? No. I wasn't doing so well for the past few years. And before that, I just never had the time. It was just research and science and work, and then I woke up one day and I was in my 30s. Even if I wanted to date, I wouldn't know the first thing about how it's supposed to work. I wouldn't even know how to tell if someone were interested in me.
Yeah, that's perfectly understandable. I'm kind of over relationships myself. Like, on a conceptual level. Not even in a sad way. Like, really okay. If someone and I end up getting along, that's great, but I'm honestly okay by myself.
Yeah? That seems nice, actually.
Yeah, I only tried to have normal relationships for so long because I thought it was mandatory, something expected of me. But now I see where people my age end up, how they live, and I feel lucky. I feel like I escaped. I mean, I think it's fine for others if they want that, don't get me wrong. It's just not for me. I could maybe share my life with someone, but it would have to be platonic. I'm not into, the physical aspect of it. Never have been. That's made it tough. I've never found someone who is okay with just like hanging out and that's our relationship. People will say they're okay with it and then it turns out they aren't. It's frustrating.
Whatever relationship works for you.
I was brought up with some really strong ideas about, finding a man and starting a family. So it took me a while to understand I could be different. Sometimes it's hard to escape feeling like it's wrong somehow. I hope we can add features like that to Eliza at some point. Some knowledge and understanding around sexuality and identity and relationships. So people who are different in some way have someone to talk to, someone to help them work through how they feel and maybe point them to some resources.
That sounds like a good idea. I'm not sure how well it could really understand, though.
Even so, just providing a space for people to be listened to can be really valuable, I've seen it with my own eyes. People who get the courage to talk about themselves in a way they never could with another human being. And Eliza is what makes that possible. I know you want to avoid giving credit where it might not be due, but not giving credit to something that deserves it is just as bad.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry. I'm sorry I keep coming down on it.
Evelyn, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I think maybe the reason you're so down on Eliza is because you're down on yourself. I don't know what happened that made you leave what you had behind, but it must have been hard.
Yeah, it was hard. It's like I lost that time.
Are you okay?
People keep asking me that. I really don't know. I'm sorry,
No, don't apologize. Actually, can I suggest something?
What's that?
Have you ever gotten counseling yourself?
What, with Eliza? You think I should?
Yeah, I do. You've been the proxy, but maybe you could try being the client sometime. It would be educational, at least. Isn't that what you were doing? Testing your product in the real world?
Oh, it's the second time I've had like a little sort of dialogue skip like that. It's weird.
Maybe.
Just something to consider.
Ray takes a breath and smiles.
Speaking of therapeutic activities, it's time to do some baking. I've got the dough all set out downstairs. We're going to do 3 batches tonight, 3 different kinds.
3 kinds? You're really outdoing yourself, Ray.
Nah, this is nothing. Oh, I have a favor to ask, by the way. Next time you talk to Rainer, ask him what his favorite type of cookie is.
I like Ray. She seems nice and genuine. She has aspirations for Eliza that aren't based around money or, commercialism stuff. So, yeah, she's nice. It's such a nice day. When did it get so warm? I thought it was still winter. Remember when we started at Skander, it was January, wasn't it? There's a breeze from over the water making the leaves rustle gently. Everything smells nice. Why haven't I been taking advantage of this beautiful day? Oh, I bet you she's in an Eliza or a Scanter meditation app type thing. Yeah, or maybe she's having an induced dream or something. Maybe. I should be out here walking along the waterfront. There is calm and peace and contentedness. Now I see how special this is. I think it wasn't always this way, but it's hard to tell. I know I was having problems at one point, but that was so long ago. When was that? I can't remember. This moment in time seems to stretch to infinity. It has always existed. It will always exist. Unchanging. Perfect. The surface of that lake is such a brilliant blue. A blue I could lose myself in. Forever blue. Am I right?
Well, what do you think?
There we go. She was testing out the induced dream prototype.
It was nice. It was like I could close my eyes and feel myself in another place. But I didn't completely lose awareness of the real world. It was more like a mental state that I was experiencing.
Remarkable technology, isn't it? I've had others who tried it tell me it's akin to a state of higher consciousness. Aware but totally serene, totally peaceful.
Soren retrieves a bottle of whiskey from a liquor cabinet and serves himself.
Here's a thought experiment for you. Say there was a certain medical procedure that could remove your suffering. No side effects, no cost, just an operation that would make you permanently happy. Would you get it? You have these philosopher types arguing you shouldn't do that because sadness and suffering are part of what it means to be human. Or that the happiness you'd experience isn't real, so it doesn't count somehow. What a load of bullshit. If there was something effective at taking my pain away, and otherwise harmless, I would take it immediately. I refuse to believe that being alive means having to suffer.
His voice is getting so ragged. How many drinks did he have before I came here?
Oh, forgive me, I forgot to ask. Would you like some scotch as well?
Yeah, we're not getting drunk in your presence, mate.
I'm okay.
Soren holds up the bottle, examining it.
The Glencadam. Beautiful, light, luminous taste. Not peaty at all. Lovely stuff. Ah, if only psychotherapy worked as well as a single glass of well-made whiskey, huh? If alcohol wasn't poison, I wouldn't have to invent anything now, would I? I do think we did some good work at Skanda, but I always knew there were going to be limits to the Eliza approach. I was a counseling psychologist for a long time, you know. I understand the shortcomings better than anyone. So much of it can feel like a waste of time, talking through everything, dredging up the past over and over again, trying and failing to change our habits and routines. It's all going to look completely ineffectual compared to what comes next. With direct stimulation and induced dreaming, we can take control of our own brains in a way that's never been possible before. There's no reason we couldn't just eliminate this epidemic of despair for everyone in the world. Imagine it. Anger, depression, emptiness, anxiety, jealousy, every kind of unhappiness you can think of, obsolete. And to think Raynor wanted nothing to do with this.
He thought it was a bad idea.
Raynor's one of the ones who thinks negative emotions are important. He told me he thinks pain should be regulated, not eliminated. After all, why would anyone write a poem or make art if they only felt happiness? He also said he was afraid of the way it would look in the media. A company as large as Skanda coming out with a product that changes the brain to make you happy. All the sorry excuses we have for public intellectuals today would throw a fit about how dystopian it looked to them. It's better if a small startup takes the fall, if public opinion turns against this technology. Those are the objections he claimed to have, at least. There's another one I suspect he had too, though. If people are self-sufficient, they don't need an ongoing support system. A system provided by an all-knowing paternalistic presence like Skanda.
Wait, you think Raynor wants people to stay miserable so they stay dependent on mental health services from his company?
Yes. Yes, I do. It's quite the accusation, I know. Not something I'd come out and say in public, not yet, anyway. But you see, the people who come to Eliza regularly, it's part of their lives now. The more they integrate with Skanda's mental wellness tools, the more they'd be adrift without them. That's the real dystopia, don't you think? Rendered helpless without the guidance of computer algorithms. Total dependency on the system. Excuse me for 1 second.
Soren hurries out of the room for some reason, leaving me with questions echoing in my head. Would I want my suffering removed completely? Is it better to leave it alone? Erland, hey, do you think I could ask about Damien? Sure. What do you want to know about him? Like, what kind of person was he? You're asking me to describe him? If you're okay with that. I don't want to make you if it's uncomfortable, but it would help me to know what he was like. He was a brilliant software architect and engineer. One of the most sincere people I ever met. He believed people were fundamentally good and wanted to help them. Our digital therapy project wasn't a mandate from management. We started it ourselves. I see. Damien went through some difficult times himself. He wasn't able to get the care he needed. That's why he wanted to change things. I wish he'd gotten the chance. I see. Thank you. This is going to sound weird, but sometimes when I'm working late and I doze in the office, I have dreams about him. I never met him in real life, but it's like I sense his presence there, like he encoded himself into the system in some way. I know it's just my mind playing tricks on me. I don't believe in ghosts. So it's an interesting debate. Now, I'd be interested to hear in the comments, kind of what you think about that, whether, negative emotions are a part of life that we should embrace as we can. To feel unhappy is your brain telling you that something's wrong and you need to make changes, versus just being happy all the time. Do we have to suffer if we don't need to? It's an interesting debate. I'm not sure I have the answers, but I think I would tend towards the side of leaving things as they are. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Evelyn reminds me of the art in the counselling room. Knowing Soren, this is probably some famous artist and it cost him a fortune. Seems restrained for him. Maybe he's cut back. Soren likes this style of decor. I forget what it was called. Art Deco? It's not really, is it? I don't know. It's modern from around the middle of the century. There's a term for that, isn't there? Postmodern? I don't know. Soren comes back in the room and immediately pours himself another glass of whiskey. He doesn't seem to notice he's filled it almost all the way to the top.
Evelyn, I really think you, of all people, might understand what I'm trying to do here.
I get it, but you don't think it's dangerous. You're essentially making technology that changes what people think is real.
Evelyn, you're much more concerned than you used to be about this kind of thing. I remember when you would dive headfirst into anything that held a promise, even a fleeting one, to help humanity. What changed your mind to make you so wary, so skeptical now?
Can I ask you something, Soren? What did you tell Damien?
Oh, this again. Don't tell me we had all of this wonderful conversation tonight, and now you're trying to blame me for Damien. Who put you up to this? Was it Nora? Raynor?
I just want to know the truth, Soren.
Nobody thought we could do it. You remember that. There was skepticism from day one. I had to defend us constantly from other project managers who didn't like that we existed, who wanted our budget and resources for themselves. Some of those were vicious, vicious fights. Amid all that, I had to be a leader, too. Part of that meant giving everyone on the team accurate information. So I was honest in saying there were forces that sought to kill our project. And I was honest when I said we'd never survive if we didn't have something to show for our work.
Another little audio skip there.
That was the reality. Without a product, we would be nothing. A guy like Raynor has access to anything he wants. If your pitch and demo isn't in the top 1% of what's out there, why would he be interested? That's what we were up against.
So many mornings, I would get into work and see Damien there. At first, I thought he was getting up earlier than me, but then I noticed he was still wearing the same shirt from the day before. Then, one morning, I got in and...
Evelyn, please. I wanted everyone on the team to be healthy. I think that's so obvious it doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it now if you think I was deliberately trying to harm him. Did I instruct you to work until you injured yourselves? No, absolutely not. It was a tragedy, and I'm very sorry that it happened. I wish it hadn't, but I wasn't telling Damien to pull all-nighters. He was an adult. He made his own decisions about how he was going to work. And besides, what about your role in all this? If you noticed him not taking care of himself, you could have mentioned it. None of that behavior was unusual for Skanda anyway. It was part of our reputation, part of the culture. There isn't a single cause you can isolate in a case like this.
Sitting in one place for too long.
Did he get like a... wondering if it was like a deep vein thrombosis or blood clot or something like that.
Chronic stress. Both of those are risk factors.
Heart attack.
Evelyn, I'm truly... He had a bright future, and it was a shock to all of us. But the answers here aren't simple ones. Dwelling on it isn't going to bring him back. Nor is discussing the huge number of potential causes of pulmonary embolism.
So that's... is embolism, does that mean blood clot?
It happened, and now we have to move on.
It felt like everything stopped. All of the work we were doing might as well have crumbled into dust. We were trying to build something to help the world, and we got lost along the way. What was the point? There didn't seem to be a point any longer.
I know that you cared about him. The process of grief can go on for some time, but you're taking the right steps. You're regaining your sense of purpose, aren't you? The experience of suffering is what makes us want to end suffering.
Exactly, so why would you jump to the head of that process and not deal with the root causes of that feeling?
It's late and I've had quite a bit to drink, so I'll tell you a secret, Evelyn. I said I want to end human suffering, which makes me sound very altruistic. But I'm not doing it for humankind. I'm doing it for myself. I have nothing. I've ruined every relationship I was ever in. I hardly ever see my kids, and, well, they hate me anyway. I want to end my own suffering, but I can't bring myself to do it the traditional way. That's why I've pursued this technology. That's why I want it to exist. The idea that everyone else could use it too, it's just a bonus.
Soren, are you okay?
No, not at all. I'm aware of that. I'm not a good person, Evelyn. Neither is Raynor, of course, but at least I'm honest with myself about that. So, now that that's all out in the open, you probably want to head home before it gets too late. Don't let me keep you.
Yes, I'll get going. I hope you can feel better.
No, I'll be fine. Just, please, consider it, Evelyn. You and I are both more familiar with pain than we might wish to be. What if you could take that away? Each of us has a destiny to fulfill. I truly believe that. I'm sure yours will come into focus soon.
Somehow that conversation ended up being very draining. Is the promise of that new technology really all that keeps him going? What have we got? Security. He's watching something and smiling to himself. The phone tips in his hand, allowing me a glimpse of the screen. It's a cat video. I think I've seen this person before. We must have a similar commute. Maybe he works at Skanda too. Some days it feels like the whole city does. Alright, we've got some messages and stuff here. Okay, let's check in with the mail first. Contractor experience team. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Looking for feedback on the proxy stuff. That's fine. I don't need to read out the details. This one. Mark Forrest. All good things. So Mark Forrest was the angry team leader from last episode, I think, wasn't he? Let's have a look. Looks like he's leaving. Let's see what he says. Well, everyone, today is my last day at Skanda. What can I say? It's the end of an era. When I joined this place, it was just a hope, a dream, a vision. To stop, look back, and see just how much we've accomplished in the last 2 decades is mind-boggling, to say the least. I'll miss the old crew and everyone who was in the trenches with me. You know who you are. Remember the insane blackberry brambles around campus that people would get serious cuts from? The time the network broke and Raj had to host all of our internal docs from his garage? The time we tried to roll out the big Polaris update right as the worst windstorm in a decade hit? Old Skanda hands know how to mass email everyone at the company, even though IT believes they turned off that feature. Sorry, Stuart. I wish I could say it was all smooth sailing, but as with any job, there are often times of friction. Times when it seemed to me that the very clear, obviously correct path was not as apparent to others. I value a spirit of openness and candour in my interactions and thought everyone else here did too. But as we grew, I suppose it was inevitable that we would take on a larger and larger group of people with an entirely different communication style than I am used to. In regard to certain specific instances, I would like to apologise to anyone who I may have offended in the way that I presented my views. So he wasn't able to deal with his anger issues. For those of you asking where I'm headed to next, the answer is nowhere yet. I'm going to spend some time with my family before thinking about my next act. There's a different world out there now, with new challenges and new horizons. Maybe this old dog will learn some new tricks in time. Thanks for being the best engineering team in the world. I'm proud to have served alongside you. Excelsior. Mark. Anyone else feel like maybe he was pushed out? Let's have a look at this relaxation app. There's no need to rush. Indeed. So we've got the scan... Okay, yeah, I was going to say we've got the Scandal Wellness app, but we're not going to go in it. What's Zip Chat? Oh, okay, that's all the text messages and stuff. That's fine. What's Bijou? Oh, she's done with it. Looks like maybe it's like Candy Crush or something. Fair enough. Time to get to work. Harriman's back.
Hello, Harriman.
Yes, we can just get down to it.
Sure, we can do that. What brings you here today? It's okay to tell me what's on your mind.
Well, I slept with Sylvia. To think I was so nervous about approaching her that I went and got therapy here. A week later, we happened to be in the library, and I just started talking with her. We talked and talked, and then everything just happened. Like a train following tracks laid out for it years ago. Crazy thing. Craziest thing. Now I'm confounded. Absolutely confounded. How did that happen? And also, why did it happen? I'm thinking, was something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Did she do something wrong? Did she think I was another person? I have no idea if we have a relationship now or what. It happened so fast. I mean, it was wonderful. It felt so right, but now what? I'm actually more frightened now than I was before. I should probably say something, right? Text her or something? What do I do? What if she ignores me? What if she decides to pretend I don't exist?
It seems to me you're afraid of something.
Yes. I'm quite worried. Vexed. Terrified, really. What do I do? I need to say something. Follow up somehow, right? In the Heian period of classical Japanese history, you were supposed to send a poem. A morning after poem. Is that too stuffy? I don't appear like some ridiculous court noble. Something casual is better, right? Hey, how are you? Did you have fun? I sure did. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what a stat it is right now. There's another problem too. Another really big problem. How do I tell Liz? Wait. Of course, I'm not going to tell her. That would hurt her. Did I mention this last time? I have a sort of girlfriend.
No, you did not
Liz
mention
is
it
nice.
last time.
The kind of person everyone approves of. Well, I should probably marry her. Yeah. I suppose I might have taken a bit of a sledgehammer to the pillars of my life at the present moment. Why did I do that? I keep coming back to my own inability to explain myself.
Why do you think you're unable to explain yourself?
Well, because I thought Sylvia was so wonderful, and it turned out that she liked me too. And I mean, I'd love to pursue a relationship with Sylvia without harming Liz. I'm not sure that's possible though, right? I can't believe this. I got what I wanted and it ruined my life. What do I tell Liz? She doesn't deserve someone like me who does things like this. I ruined it. Ruined everything.
Can you describe what you mean when you say you ruined everything?
Well, what is there left now? I've overturned my entire existence in one night. The real problem here is Sylvia, the whole situation with her. I can't stop thinking about her now. It's bad. Oh, it's bad. It's constant. It's relentless. Even now, I can still feel her, smell her. You're a computer. You don't know what that's like, do you? I need a way to forget this. I need a way to put all that out of my mind. My brain is completely out of order. I'm being punished. And the punishment reaches cosmic levels of irony for me. Do you know why? I used to absolutely hate, self-pitying novels by men who were messed up over a relationship and couldn't get over it. Oh, she was wild and beautiful. Oh, a force of nature. Nobody could understand her, etc., etc. I thought I was so much better than those types of writers. And now? Oh, yes, I get it. Oh, I understand it now. So much pain.
Why did you think you were so much better than those types of writers?
Because it was such a cliche. Now I'm wondering, am I going to be next? Is that my fate? Am I going to become the next straight, male English professor whose one published novel is about not being able to get over a girl? Ugh, you have to be kidding me. I can't allow myself that fate. I had something better to pursue, didn't I? I have to write about something else. My life has to be the story of something else, but I don't know where to go from here. I need to try to get over this. I need to get over her. I must. Yes, I must. There's no way I'm going to let this ruin everything. If I tell Liz everything and apologize sincerely and strike the memory of Sylvia from my mind, I still might save this. It will take great care and cunning, but I may be able to wend my way through this treacherous path I now find myself upon, even though I fear at any moment I might slip and tumble into the crevice below. Dead. Dead. Never seen or heard from again. Oh, sweet, dark death.
It's a bit melodramatic.
Harriman, I'm going to suggest you try a program called Meadowlands. It may help you take your mind off things. You can find it inside the Skanda Wellness app on your phone. Try it for about 15 minutes each day, in the morning or evening.
Meadowlands. I'm off to the Meadowlands. Familiar ground, grass and warmth. Reverting to my childhood. A state of nature. Yeah, this is a good recommendation. Yes, you are a genius, in fact. You, a computer program, wiser than you know. I'm sure this is exactly what I need. To revert to a state of wonder at this moment when the mundane world and all its entanglements seem too much to bear.
You will get a reminder to check in with us in a few weeks.
I'll be back sooner than that if this works.
We hope to see you back soon, Harriman. Thank you for speaking with Eliza, your personal counseling partner. Goodbye.
See you. Yes, yep, see you.
Okay, I thought he was being sarcastic at the end there, but he seemed... Actually, it was sincere. We've got a 3-star this time. I know I'm supposed to keep it confidential, and I will, but sometimes I really wish I could talk to people about the clients that come through here. This is Soren. Evelyn, hey. Just closed the next round of funding. Asia Pacific Investment Group. They're keenly interested in this technology. Imagine the potential size of the Asian market for something like this. Staggering. Congratulations. Thanks. Of all the projects I've worked on, I have a strong feeling about this one, that it's going to go far, really make a dent in the universe. Wouldn't you rather do that than crunch numbers for Raina? I don't know what I want to do. All he wants is to quantify everything. He'll never understand there are some things you can't reduce to a number. How are you feeling right now? 1, 5, 2.3? Definitely a 1. See, it's ridiculous. The idea that feelings can be reduced to these simple data points. I'm glad I don't work for him anymore. Direct stimulation provides much more rich, complex information. So many ways to study it too. Imagine what you could do with a corpus of raw sensations, notions, images, ideas, sensations. Hey, you there? Yes. Okay. Heading into another meeting. Chat with you later. Okie doke. Look at the stuff. I hope this one is getting enough light in that corner there. Looks a little lonely. His experience as a grad student is nothing like the one I had. How does he even have time for that stuff? And on that note, I think we'll probably leave it there for now. So thanks very much for watching this episode of Eliza. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, then please hit the thumbs up button on the video. It all helps to get the channel noticed and to grow. Leave me a comment as well. I said earlier, you know, very, very interested in the discussion that's taking place in the comment sections for this video series. So yeah, let me know where you stand on this permanent happiness versus, negative emotions are an essential part of sort of growth and healing. But yeah, very interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know. And I'll hope to see you next time as well for the next episode of Eliza. Bye for now.